Hello there, I'm Jan from JB Crafts and I'm back today with another video tutorial to show you how I made my husband's birthday card. His birthday card is tomorrow, but I'm actually going to schedule this to go on my channel on Saturday, so he will have actually received this by the time my video goes live. So yeah, I've used a combination of products, which I'm going to show you what I've used, and as always I've put a little greeting inside as well, just to link the inside to the outside, and I will show you the envelope that I've made as well at the end of the video, so stay tuned. So I'll just pop that to one side for a second and I'll bring in products that I've used. So as I say, there's a complete mixture of products. The papers this time, I've done quite a bit of matting and layering, and the papers are actually from a Crafter's Companion paper pad, and I've used a mixture of the large 12 by 12 pad, which is the all occasions patterns, and also the matching 6 by 6 paper pad. So if I bring you this back in, the large plaid is from the 12 by 12, but the wood grain one is from the 6 by 6 because I wanted slightly smaller design on there. So that's my papers of choice today. Excuse me. I've also used the Cheers collection from Crafter's Companion. Some of you may recognise that. I've used the edgeable die, Cheers to You, which has created this detail just here. And then I've also used the Whiskey Business for the decanter and the glass. Having said that, my husband's a rum drinker, so I did try to get, it does look more like claret, I think, or red wine, but I struggled to get the right colour, but I think you'll get the gist of it here. And then I've also popped in my favourite sentiment set at the moment. This is a Crafter's Companion sentiment set called Simply Sentiments, and you can mix and match any of your sentiments off here. And I've just taken the happy birthday along with a die cut to read the word husband there. So along with my alcohol colouring pens, the little bit of wood grain paper is out of my stash, but the rest of it I will talk you through as we go along. So to start with, I've made my card base, and I've made this one out of cream cardstock rather than white today. And I settled on 7 3/4 by 7 3/4 because this fits nicely in the shop bought 8 by 8 envelopes that you can buy. So that's why I've gone just a little bit smaller so that it fits nicely into that envelope. So this is going to be our card blank. And then I've taken some brown linen cardstock from my stash and just made the very first mat layer at 7 by 7 inches. This is just a slightly textured linen card, but any of your cardstocks will work here. Then the pattern paper from that large pad, I've just taken it to cover part of this mat layer. Normally I would go the whole way around here, but this today, and I'll explain why in a second. So this one measures 6 3/4 by 5 inches, so 6 3/4 high, 5 inches across, because I wanted this brown to show for when I actually do my die cutting. If I bring that sample back in, you can see that the die cut with the brown behind it, it gives a nice relief for that die cut piece that I'm going to do through my machine. So I'm going to build all these layers up, and because I'd brought in that lovely sort of clarity colour there, I just wanted to tie that in with the rest of the design. So again, this is just an offcut of textured card that I've brought in, just a 1/2 inch wide piece, just to bring in and sort of bring all those colours together rather than this being sort of like the odd one out. So I've just got that 1/2 inch strip here that is 6 3/4 tall to go over the set here. So I think what we'll do is get all those pieces glued down first so that I've got those in position. And I'm going to take my double-sided tape pen again today and just add some detail on there for the adhesive. Pop it all the way around the edge. And then we can get this layered up ready to work on. So again, just to centre that in the middle there. Pop that one down. And then again, I'm going to go with that piece of plaid paper. So this was a double-sided paper. You can see that lovely bright rainbow effect on the reverse there, but I wanted the more masculine tones today. So I've gone for browns and greens and that lovely sort of wine claret colour in there. So again, that one's going to sit to the left hand side. And then I've got a piece of tape just on the back of this one, just to make it a little bit easier to position, because I can just take the edge of the tape back to start off with and then get that positioned where I want it to go before I actually stick the rest of it down. So I'm just going to make sure that it lines up with that plaid paper. It reaches top to bottom on my panel, and then I'm going to release that piece out of the underneath there. So I'm going to move on from that bit just for a second, just to show you where I'm heading with next. So we'll pop that one to one side for a second. And then I've taken a piece of cream cardstock that is 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. I've also taken my edgeable die here, and I've added this to the edge of the panel. It's just slightly longer. This is about 6 inches long, so it just takes it over the edge. So I've lined it up with the edge here, and I've cut myself a panel out, and you can see now how that looks when that die cut is cut through there. So we've got all that lovely detail with the bottles and the glasses to add to the card. So that's why I wanted that brown space showing when we add this one onto the card. So again, I'm going to stick these layers down as we go so that I don't end up with them all piled up around me. So again, I've just put some tape on the back of this one, and we're going to pop that one and just let it overhang slightly onto that brown and center it. I'm just looking at the distance here and the distance at the bottom. Make sure that's straight, and we can pop that one in place. I've got a little bit of glue on there by the looks of it, but I'm not too worried because we're going to pop our next layer over the top. So this is that piece from the 6x6 pad, the wood grain, and this measures 5 1/2 inches by 2 7/8. So once I'd cut my edgeable out, I've measured the distance on the panel and just cut a piece that fits nicely within that border there. So again, I'm going to bring the tape pen into play. So all the mats and layers today, we've got several. I wanted to create that kind of layered effect today, but again, they're all flat, and obviously this is not going in the mail, so I didn't have to worry about how bulky it became with all the layers. So that is my wood grain layer at the back, and then I've actually created that decorative piece here using some more of the brown cardstock, a piece of scrap out of my stash that is wood grain, different type of wood grain again, and then I've just used my corner punch here. This is just the Crafter's Companion corner, and you can just see how it just nicks out that little shape, and I've done that on opposite corners just again to add a bit of detail there, and this one's going to stick across here to create those different angles with what we're doing. Now, just before I stick that down, I have got some little embellishments that I want to attach to this. So in my little embellishment pot again, I've got some pieces of tickets that I've stamped out here. And these are just from a stamp set that I have in my stash. You can just see the different ones here. Just literally all the different tickets, and all I've done is stamp them out. Apologies if there's any glare on that one. Stamp them out onto some pattern paper, well, just relatively plain paper to get that oldie worldy look. And I've got some little pieces now that we're going to use to add some detail to my design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one because I only want the top section of this. So I'm just going to trim it in half here. Not quite in half, but I want the top section for one part of the design, and then I want the bottom section of it for the other part of the design. And then I'm going to keep, you know, the little piece in the middle will go back in the pot. This may be used for something totally different. So what we've got here then, I'm going to pop one piece here as if it's popping out from underneath the cream, and then I'm going to add a piece behind here and a piece under here, just purely because I have a thing about numbers. I love numbers. They're not particularly relevant to anything, but I have a lot of stamps and dies that have numbers on, and I really enjoy sort of incorporating those into the designs. So a little bit of wet glue there. This is the tacky glue, and I'm going to position where I want the panel to go, which is about here. Again, I've just got an equal bit of the wood grain and the panel piece here, and then I'm going to slot that behind so that there is just that top section showing there. Okay, apologies if you can hear a little bit of tip tap in there. My little pooch has just arrived to lay down in the craft room at the side of me. So that one's going to fit there, and then I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here on that one, and I'm going to slot this one under the other edge, so just under here, just to add that little bit of interest. And again, I just want that bottom bit peeking out just at the bottom there. I just need to slide that along a little bit, and then I've got my panel now ready to secure on the card itself. So I'm happy with that. We'll stick the other piece of ticket down while I think on. This one's just going to go as if it was peeking out from under that panel. So this is actually part of one of the stamps. So rather than wasting the whole thing under that panel, I'm just going to I've cut that down, and I'm actually going to pop that along that edge there, just so that it looks as if it's sort of sticking out from the card there. And then we'll get this one stuck down as well. So again, I have actually popped some tape on there, which I've now just realised that I've stuck my pieces to. So yeah, this should be fun. Here we go. We'll pull that one out. It should come out. I can reposition this one underneath like so. Just make sure that I've got that in the right place. And then the same with this one. So let's just take that one out as well. Try and keep that in the right position. There we go. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of wet glue behind those tabs, because obviously that hasn't got any adhesive on it there. Okay. So that one's going to go across horizontally just to sort of link everything together. Okay. So the next job then is I've done a little tiny bit of paper piecing to go down here. If I bring you that sample in again, you can see here where I've just filled in some elements of that edgeable there. So just realised that I didn't actually stick that bit down. So what I'm going to do is grab a piece of scrap paper just out of my little bin here, and I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of the tacky glue on here. Not too much there. And then I'm just going to slide that underneath some of the edges to make sure that they are a little bit more secure there, so that they don't catch. I think that will work. So again, it's just an easy way, if you have forgot to secure something down, of adding a little bit of glue under the edge so that you can actually pop it in place. There we go, that's fine now. And then I'm going to use my pieces that I've cut. So if I've just got in my little tub of goodies again, I've got these pieces, and I've remembered to put my sticky on the back of them again this time. I am getting better. So we have got the piece out of the wine glass there, and I've got the piece out of excuse me, out of the bottom, out of that glass. I've also got the label for the bottle, and all I did was just use some leftover scraps of what I've been using. So this is the same as the textured card here. This piece is actually scrap that was left over from the plaid, and just to tie it all in together, I coloured the little label here with one of my gold pens just to add a bit more detail. And then I've got that tiny little piece here that is in the top of the bottleneck there. So again, we might just need a little bit of glue for that one in here. There we go. And then that piece is going to go in that gap there. This is where the tweezers come in really handy, and then I can move it into shape. So that's my paper piecing done down the side there. Okay, So we need to add the rest of the decoration now. So what I've done is I've already stamped out the details that I'm going to use. So if I bring in that other die set, the stamp and die set, you can see here we've got Whiskey Business, and this has got a beautiful stamp set in there. And just take my masks off because I did a little bit of masking on the inside, and I'll show you how I did that. So you can see we've got the decanter there and the glass. So I've actually stamped out the glass and cut it out with my die. And then I've just added in, this is actually alcohol marker. I use my Tri-Blend just to colour this in with a little bit of that dark red and just some ice grey to tint the glass to make it look as if it was actually substantial rather than just plain white. And then I've done exactly the same with the decanter here. Just use those two colours. So I've used grey for the glasswork, and then those lovely shades of the dark red to create that that liquid inside. And then I've cut them out with my dies, and we've got those good to go. So the decanter is going to go on first, and I've got that with some tape at the ready. So again, we will just take the backing, and I've used the red line tape because I know that it's going to do the job. It's going to withstand any moving around. I don't have to worry about it coming apart or anything. Oh, excuse me. And then we're going to pop this one. I just wanted this to look as if it was like the workbench. So that's why I went for that wood grain. So we're going to have the decanter just at an angle. And then I'm just going to shape this one slightly. And I'm going to add a couple of foam pads just to raise that one up a little bit to give a bit of dimension. Like I said, this is not going in the mail, so I don't have to worry about that dimension on there. So again, we've got a couple of little foam pads on there. Not too worried today. It's going straight onto my project. I've not got any ink or anything behind here other than paper, so I am just going to pop it straight down onto the foam pads there. I've added a couple of little flat back gems here. You know that my cards are never finished without the gems on. I'm also going to, while I've got that in my mind, I'm just going to echo those two up in that top corner as well. So these were just a very neutral shade that I'd got in my stash. And again, I'm going to take one of the larger ones and one of that next size down, and just decorate that. So I've gone vertical here and then vertical on this one at the side here. So we're getting pretty much close. And then what have I got left in here in my little stash? This was the die that I've used for husband. This is from an old set of sentiments. And then I've cut that in the green, slightly darker green, out of my scrapbox. And then I've also cut it out of the brown to give it a little tiny drop shadow there. So that's going to fit on here. And then I've also used that stamp set to create my happy birthday. So that was the sentiment set, the Simply Sentiments. And I've just done those two little pieces to go on here like so. So what we're going to do then is we're going to pop all that down. I've got some glue just to go on the back of the die cut. So again, I'm just going to pop some little tiny dabs of glue here onto the back. If my glue's decided it's not working, come on. Well, that's useful. Let me see if I can just free that up. See if I can get that working. If not, we'll change to a different form of glue. Yeah, it's not playing, so we'll just pop onto that dotty tape pen instead, and I'm just going to put some little dots of glue onto here so that I can put that in position. So this is going to go here onto that wood grain, and then we're going to stick these ones down. And again, I'll have to use those little dots while I've sorted that glue bottle out. And we're going to pop these on the background. So we have got a birthday one, And when I did this on the original card, as I placed them on here, it looked as if they were hung on the wood grain wall. So I brought in my fine liner pen and literally just popped by hand as if they were hung. So a little bit of a wobbly line. Not very good at drawing straight lines, I never try. And just did a little dot with the lines attached to it, and it just looked then as if they were actually attached and hung on the wall there. So we've got Happy Birthday Husband there. So I think that's pretty much the front of the card designed. We've got all those details on. We've got his favourite tipple there, Happy Birthday Husband. And then of course I said I would come back to the inside part of the card. So just to one side here I have got my insert, and this one measures 7 inches square, so it's the same size as the original mat that we put down on the front. And I'm going to pop this inside here. And again, I've just decorated it, and this is what the mask was for. When I stamped out my my details, all I've done is I've literally stamped the glass first, and then covered it with my mask, which has been done on a little bit of masking tape, and then stamped the decanter off the edge of the card, and this gives the impression that the glass is in the front of it. Now I didn't actually use the mask for the decanter, but I thought I may as well stamp it out while I'm doing it so that I've got it there, and I'll just keep it on the stamp set for future use. So those are just to link it in with the front of the card. Few little snippets again, bits of those tickets and the bits that were left over, the scraps that were left over again, just to tie it all in together. And then I'm going to stay with the tape runner there and just add that all the way around the edge. Now while I'm just finishing off, I just wanted to address a couple of things. I said a massive thank you to you guys yesterday. You've been very, very supportive of the new channel, which I am eternally grateful for. And I have been reading the comments, and there's been just a couple of comments that I will reply to while I'm crafting today. One of which was asking about whether I have a Facebook page, and I know some of you have already found it. I have actually started a Facebook page under my own account called JB Crafts to support the YouTube channel. I plan to post on there. Please feel free to pop over and comment, give it a follow. If you want to add anything yourself, I'm going to try and work out how you guys can actually input to that page as well. I may need to change it into a group for you to do that, but I will. That's the work in progress. And a couple of the other comments, there's several of you have asked me whether I will be doing any lives or craft alongs like I used to do on Crafters TV. So the answer to that will probably be yes, but in a while. I am finding my feet. I'm not the best person with technology. It's taken me a little while to work all this out. So once I've found my feet and worked out how the whole system works, then yes, I probably will in the future go live and possibly even invite you guys to come craft along with me over a weekend when we've not actually got any CTV shows anymore. So that will give us all plenty of time. I will try and time that so that as many of you as possible can join in with me, but it will be down the track a little bit. And the other thing that one of the followers asked was about using third-party products. And if you managed to catch my video yesterday, you'll notice that I did use the Tim Holtz Oxide inks. Today has been a little bit more focused on Crafters Companion products, but I have a whole range of stash that I will be bringing into play, mixing and matching in with Crafters Companion products, things that I've got in my own stash. I know there was Creative Expressions mentioned. I've got so much stuff in this room that I will definitely be mixing it up as we go on through the tutorials for the future. That was the plan. So we've got our card there at the ready. We've got the inside part decorated to match. And then I said I would bring in the envelope at the end just to tie it all together. Just again use some of those scraps, bringing it all in together. We've got bits of the ticket, bits of the papers, the little heart, And then I do have some little self-adhesive decorative stamps in my stash. So even though this has been hand delivered, I did like the idea that it's got the little stamp on there. And then I've just drawn myself a marker line. I like to put the names on at an angle. Although everything else is straight, I will put his name on here before I actually package this up for him to go for his birthday tomorrow. So that's my video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing if you haven't done already. Hit that notification bell so that you know next time I'm going to be applying a video. My aim is to have at least one video up for you guys every week. That's the challenge at the moment. And I will be back as soon as I've got details of the next one to show you. So thanks very much. See you soon. Bye.